All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you about a company called BEEM Global, stock ticker BEEM. These guys are an EV charging station. We'll dive into that. We've done some videos on this before, so we cover the EV small cap stocks and small cap high growth stocks in general on the channel quite a bit. So if that's content you're interested in, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody would do us a favor and smash the like button, it helps the channel out a lot, and I would appreciate it. Lastly, there's a link in our pinned comment to our Discord. It's free. We have about 600 people over there. We have a great conversation going, so we'd love to have you come over and join for free. Okay, let's talk about BEEM Global. What I want to talk about with these guys is they just put out their Q1 2022 earnings report. So I want to go through their earnings report and go through their chart and their short position. And they had a couple of different big pieces of news come out as well. So I want to go through this stock, see where they're at. Ultimately, we're going to end up on the chart and see, what kind of upside or downside there is for this stock, over the next few months. If we take a quick overview look at BEEM, you'll see they're trading at $14.88 today. They're up about 3.8% on the day today, and today is Friday, May 27th. So we're in a couple of day rally here, and seems to be a little bit of a relief rally. BEEM has done well in that relief rally as well. But even having said that, this leaves them at a $149 million market cap. So this is a very small and very high growth stock. So I'm going to just take a quick look at their 52-week range. $10.19 is their low, so they are off of their lows, but $41.05 is their 52-week high. So they're way off of their 52-week high. This is a volatile trading company. Most of these small cap EV related stocks are extremely volatile, so keep that in mind. Also, there's a massive short position out on this stock. I think 24% of the float is shorted. So, this is a potential short squeeze, particularly since only 8 million shares of this company in the float. So that's one of the lowest numbers you're going to find. So I don't buy or sell stocks based on the fact that they may have a short squeeze, but it is a nice bonus to know that really this stock has a very legitimate shot with a 24% short interest on only 8 million outstanding shares. That's a pretty good setup for a potential short squeeze. However, you never know when or if those are going to come. So I want to look more at the fundamentals of this company and talk about what these guys do and what they're looking to do going forward. So let's take a look at the earnings release. Okay, BEEM Global reports fiscal Q1 2022 financial results. This was on May 25th, so just 2 days ago. Okay, so this is a BEEM Global charging station right here. Just for those of you who are not familiar, and you can go back and look at some of my previous videos, I've done a deep dive on this, but just as an overview, this is their product. It is an EV charging station that is powered with solar panels. This is 100% off the grid. It requires no permitting, no infrastructure, no electric. This really is not direct competition with the general EV charging station infrastructure like ChargePoint or Blink. This is a support system beyond that for people to charge their cars, really, mostly I would say at work, where their car's just sitting in the parking lot all day. So I think these can charge up to 9 cars at a time. They do have somewhat of a limited capacity due to the fact that they are off the grid and this is just solar powered. Okay, let's hit some of the highlights. Generated the highest quarterly revenue in the company's history of $3.8 million, a 175% increase over Q1 2021. It represents sequential growth from the fourth quarter of 2021 to the first quarter of 2022, which we like to see on these small cap high growth stocks. We definitely want to see not only year over year growth, but sequential growth on a quarter over quarter basis, because they should be in a high growth phase. So systems deliveries were 250% higher than Q1 2021. So they're getting these products out now. That's a gigantic increase year over year. So this is a relatively new product, obviously, and they're just ramping up sales right now. I'm going to take a quick break and show you where their sales are at and what their sales expectations are. You can see there's 5 analysts covering this in 2022, and they are expecting 98% growth year over year from 2021 to 2022. And then next year, there's 4 analysts covering it, and they're expecting 110% growth year over year from 2022 to 2023. Now, what's not on this chart is in 2024, they are expecting to reach profitability. So right now, they are not yet turning a profit, and they're not yet cash flow positive. Both of those things are scheduled for the year 2024. But you can see 98% and 110%. This is a massively high growth company. They have anticipated sales of $17 million for the year, but you'll see they have a backlog of over $100 million. So their sales are set up for years to come if they can continue to implement their strategy. Okay, they mentioned they received a $2.4 million order from mobile EV charging company SparkCharge for the BEEM all-cell battery products. So this is important. They also just acquired this company AllCell, which is now a part of BEEM, and they are a part of the supply chain. They use these all-cell batteries in their product. So not only do they get to streamline their own production, reduce the cost of their own production, but in addition to that, this is a company that has sales and will contribute gross profit margin. So right off the bat, this happened weeks after they bought it. They got a $2.4 million order, so that was very encouraging. Received a follow-on order from the California Department of General Services for 23 EV ARC systems. So they have government clients. There's government money set aside on the state level, particularly in California, and on the federal level. So they have some big clients that are looking to buy a lot of these machines. And again, these do not compete with the standard infrastructure for EV charging stations. This is a supplemental infrastructure on top of that. So, and these can be implemented in one day. Drive it out, park it in the parking lot, and it's up and running, versus traditional EV charging stations that obviously that will grow out over time, but you know, it takes months or potentially years to build those. They were awarded a federal blanket purchase agreement for electric vehicle charging infrastructure to provide a streamlined procurement process. So this is very big. This blanket purchase agreement will allow federal agencies to much more rapidly buy these than the typical process they have to go through to acquire something. So this is big news, being that ultimately I do think that the state and federal governments will be a big part of BEEM's customer base. Now, they also can serve all different industries. So these are relatively inexpensive, and obviously they provide a benefit to employees or whoever the case may be. All right, BEEM Global reported record quarterly revenue in the first quarter of 2022, $3.8 million compared to $1.4 million in the same period in the prior year, an increase of 175%. That included $0.4 million, so $400,000 for battery storage devices as a result of the closing of the acquisition of AllCell. So they got $400,000 in sales in the quarter from that acquisition, and that number will grow. You saw they got just one purchase order that was for $2.4 million. Okay, so gross loss in the quarter was $0.3 million. So you can see this is a company, they are not cash flow positive and they are not profitable yet, but these are very, very small losses. That's $300,000. So this company has about $21 million in liquidity. So you can see with these small losses, I think on a cash flow basis, operations took $2 million this quarter. So they expect to reduce that over time, but you can see that a $21 million cash balance actually is quite a decent cash runway. And if they needed to raise cash, this is a company that has not done very many equity offerings. They only have 8 million shares outstanding, and their share price trades anywhere from $10 to $40 over the last year. So if they needed to raise cash, it wouldn't be much because their cash burn rate is very, very small. So here they say, at March 31st, 2022, we had $19 million compared to $21.9 million at December 31st. Cash decrease was primarily from operating activities and the purchase of working capital from AllCell. So did make the AllCell purchase in that period as well. So their working capital decreased from $24.6 million to $21.8 million, and that included the purchase of a company. So they are burning cash, but they do have a lot of cash left. They have a several-year cash runway, and again, they do expect to get to cash flow positive profitability in 2024. All right, I want to take a look at the chart on BEEM because I think here's where things get interesting. If you go to their all-time high, which was over a year ago, that was in January of 2021, you'll see this company is down 80%. So this has been a typical theme on this channel. With all of the small cap high growth stocks, we have seen these down 70%, 80%. We have a bunch that are down 90%. So BEEM falls into that category. And again, I typically like to just cross this area out. This is December, January, and February of 2020 and 2021. This was a bit of a bubble. So, you know, this run from $50 up to $75, I tend to discount and ignore. But even if you ignore that, they are still down 70% from their high of about 14 months ago in the $50 range. So lastly, even if you were to discount all of this and just go to where they peaked in November, which was nowhere near their 52-week high, and it was nowhere near their all-time high, they're still down over 60%. Looks like 62, almost 63% from there. So last one, then we'll talk some price targets. From April 18th to May 27th here, BEEM is down 40%. So again, you'll see these are big swings. This is a volatile company. Conversely, from January 24th, when this hit its low, to April 11th, which was just a little over 2 months, BEEM was up 141%. So you can see this company has big runs up. It also has big pullbacks. So, and it's followed that pattern, you know, all the way along here. Extremely volatile stock. I'm going to zoom into the 1-day time frame so that we can see a little bit of a closer look. Okay, so I'm going to look at a couple of points. If BEEM was just to get back to where it was on April 18th, so again, that was 5 or 6 weeks ago. At $25, this was historically a lower point than they've been trading at. They've traded between the $30 and $40 range for quite some time. If we go back and look, $25 all the way through November of 2021, that was a very solid line of support. So they traded above that for, you know, 99% of the time in the previous year. Well, obviously, once they crossed that, it turned into a line of resistance, which has held ever since. This is the weekly time frame. So if I go back to the daily time frame, so basically if BEEM can just retrace its steps and get back to where it was on April 18th, just over 1 month ago, that would be a 71% increase in the price of BEEM. And again, this would not be at all unprecedented. It just did this in February and March of this year. So there's a lot of ups and downs. I am playing this one as a long-term play, but there's a lot of swing traders out there that this is absolutely ideal for. So again, this is not financial advice. I'm not recommending that you buy this stock or sell this stock or swing trade this stock. You guys have to make that own buying decision for yourself. But you can see there's massive volatility in that, and that typically tends to bode well for a swing trader, an experienced swing trader, if you know what you're doing. We've looked at the upside of 71%. They are about 31% off of their line of support. So this is really their low. It's their all-time low. There's about a 31% downside. Now, that's not to say it couldn't go down more. We've seen stocks get hammered even harder than this. So it depends what the future holds for the market, but it looks to me like just in the very short term, there's maybe a 31% downside if we retest our lows and a 71% upside if we retest just our local highs from last month. Last November, this was about a $39 stock. That would be a 166% increase in the price of this stock. So I'm not really expecting that anytime soon, although over the long term, I am expecting it to go much, much higher than that. So, you know, you guys got to judge your time frame and your risk tolerance. So please be careful with this one. It is highly volatile. So that's my update for BEEM. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next video.